demand. So they created this hysteria when these shoes came out to where people were getting jacked and robbed for them and at gunpoint and having to wait overnight and all these negative things are happening. Guys are stealing and doing all kind of stuff just to get their hands on Jordan. But I miss being able to sit out and camp out for some shoes. I miss being able to physically grab these things and not have to worry about bots. Them dudes who had them bots had to stand in line like the rest of us. You know what I'm saying? And limited to 1 or 2 pairs. Like, yo, why can't we get back to that? Why do we have to do these raffles and this thing? Make enough shoes for everyone to buy them. When you first release them, you can have your, not a limited edition, but a certain amount that you're going to initially come out with. Jordan used to do that. On a release day, it was a certain amount that were coming out. Then after that certain amount that comes out, they re-release the following week, and they sell out again. You think these codes are not going to sell out multiple times? And I know she's working on it, because this woman, Vanessa, is a champion for all things Bryant. And I love it. And she's a champion for all things Lakers. And she's a woman of the people. So I have no doubt that she's going to do what she can to make these as accessible and as easy as they can be to be able to purchase, because everyone wants a pair. But I want codes. So I'm going to say it like this. I'm going to try to get the reverse Grinches. So hopefully whatever shock drops come out, that I'll be able to grab those. If not, when them reverse Grinches come out, those red joints, if I don't get the regular pair, I'm going to have to do the resale. I'm not happy about it, but I will have to if I don't get them. Because those I want badly. Oh, so badly. I want those so bad. So we going to see. But man, I just wanted to kind of talk about it. I know we saw that everyone who is on Twitter saw Trevor Reza post the meme of Kobe shooting the fadeaway on 4. People telling, hey man, I mean, shit, if I miss it, that means you guys have an easy opportunity for a rebound putback. You feel me? And all these other stories about, the softest Charmin and all these personal experiences that I would have loved to have had, man. Because that dude is, like I said, an idol of mine. I don't get starstruck very often, but being around Kobe, I'd have been starstruck. Just bottom line. Can't even lie. I'd have been starstruck, man. That dude means that much as far as basketball life. I looked up to Jordan. I still wear Jordans to this day. And as soon as that man got to the game, I'm trying to be Kobe. So shout out to everyone who has their own connections, relationships, and own stories and anecdotes that they can come up with when it comes to Kobe. Man, it's he's LA's own, man. He's that dude, man. He is that dude. And he's gonna be missed. Rest in peace, Gigi. Rest in peace, Kobe. Rest in peace to all other people who, unfortunately, the mothers and the daughters, the husbands that lost their loved ones, man. And it doesn't get easier in any day. I don't really do well with grief myself, so I can understand, and I have issues with it, so I can only imagine for someone who meant so much to somebody and everyone brings up to you and talks about, and it's just interesting to see what's going to happen there, man. I just think, man, that he'll be missed, man. He'll be missed for sure. And long live the Mamba. Long live the Mamba. So yeah, man, the next thing I kind of wanted to get into, I said, there's some news that happened today, right? I don't know, any new listeners to the show or any prior listeners to the show. The ones who've been with us, been rocking with us, salute to y'all, appreciate it. And hopefully we can gain more followers as we kind of get to this sort of thing. But, man, trade happened today with my favorite football team. I'm going to kind of circle back. A couple years ago, my grandmother passed. Died of COVID, y'all. Sad. I love that woman. I mean, I owe a lot to that lady, to be honest with you. And, man, just thinking about this draft day is kind of crazy, because the day that Trey Lance got drafted, was the day that we had my grandmother's funeral. So I had family over here. You know, the draft is going on, and I want to take my mind off of thinking about my grandma and not the fact that she's not here and dies of dementia. Dies of the actual cause of death was dementia, but the dementia was accelerated when she caught COVID because she was deteriorating at a slower pace. But once she caught COVID, it went from a snail's pace to a rabbit's pace, just like that. Within I believe about a month, my grandma passed from dementia. Went from like that to that because it got triggered by the COVID triggered to kind of accelerate that process. But going to that draft, we have Mac Jones, Justin Fields, Trey Lance. Now, mind you, Trevor Lawrence is going first. Let's just get that out the way. The story behind it was the 49ers are going to draft Mac Jones. That's the Kyle Shanahan guy, can run the offense great. Though he's an on-time, on-target type of quarterback, does everything on schedule. That's what the thought was, and I was against it. McCorkle, who he's been affectionately known by a couple circles out there, was not the guy for me. I was a Justin Fields guy. Still a Justin Fields guy. I believe that man's going to be really good. Had 1,000 yards rush, not 1,000, but like 900 yards rushing last year, and is a really good quarterback. Can he throw it? We're going to see, but is a really good quarterback. And I was like, please don't draft McCorkle. Please don't draft McCorkle. Please don't draft McCorkle. Our pick came up. It was Trey Lance. Now, I was happy we didn't draft McCorkle because I believed the Mel Kipers of the world. I believed the Todd McShays of the world. I believed that this guy could play. Went to North Dakota State. The last guy was at North Dakota State before he got, North Dakota State. Let me go ahead and make sure I say that correctly. North Dakota State. The last guy drafted from North Dakota State was Carson Wentz, and Carson Wentz was an MVP candidate, was on his pace to take his team to the Super Bowl, got hurt, didn't win the MVP, his team won the Super Bowl. Now, maybe I should have been not so blinded with the red and gold colors of the 49ers by thinking that, hey, I can do the same thing that we could do the same thing that the Eagles did, right? And turn Trey Lance. And mind you, we had Jimmy G at the time. So slowly but surely integrate this dude, have Jimmy G write out the contract. As soon as the contract's out, have Trey Lance ready to go. Kind of like Aaron Rodgers, right? Not the same circumstances, right? Because Aaron Rodgers was following behind a Hall of Fame quarterback. And he became a Hall of Fame quarterback himself, and he was still playing and still balling, as Stephen A. Smith likes to affectionately call the bad man that is Aaron Rodgers. But thinking, okay, we got a guy we can usher into the new era. We got a guy who's athletic and got a big arm. Kyle can coach him up because Kyle's a quarterback guru. Anytime a quarterback's under Kyle, he looks like he's good. Nick Mullins looked like he was good. We had Glenn Gabbert for a little bit. We had who's the other cat, man? I'm trying to think, man. It was Nick Mullins and Hoyers and whoever else, man. Anybody who came behind the center, they look good. Jimmy Garoppolo, all of them, right? Obviously, Jimmy Garoppolo, better of all of them. And I'm thinking this guy can turn him into something. But the more and more, and I love my 49ers, I think Kyle Shanahan is a really good coach. But the more and more I look at Kyle Shanahan has a system. And he has a style of quarterback that he wants. I prefer to have a more mobile guy who can move, who can throw, who has a big arm to get the ball down the field, can make the right throws, but also want to do this accurate, make the throws on time and on target and play in schedule. Reading one side of the field. If you're supposed to start to the left side, get to the right side, vice versa. Reading going from your first option to your second option, get to your check down. If not, throw the ball away. Do not take sacks. That's the type of quarterback I like as well, but I want him to have some take the top off the defense type of capabilities. A Lamar Jackson, Justin Fields per se, Deshaun Watson per se, Josh Allen, you name it, I want it. So I'm thinking that Trey Lance has the opportunity to do that, and we're going to groom him. Now, I'm not going to absolve the young man of what he hasn't done, which is improved his game and caught on to the Shanahan offense because you've been there, this would have been your third season. Ladies and gentlemen, as Stephen A. Smith likes to say, because I'm going to keep, I just want to mind y'all, when I'm rolling by myself, I know some of y'all don't like this dude, and he annoys me sometimes too, but Stephen A. Smith is a genius, man, and he's a legend in the field of journalism, especially sports journalism. A legend. And I'm going to mention him a lot because there's very few black faces that are leading their television show and are executive producing and as powerful as he is. I'm going to watch it. I also like Kwame Brown. I also like Steven Jackson. I also like Matt Barnes. I also like Shannon Sharp. I also like Ryan Clarks and the Dominic Foxworth and the Lewis Riddicks and the Marcus Spears and the Damian Woody's out there and the Herm Edwards. I like all of these dudes. But Stephen A. Smith's that dude, and y'all gonna have to give the man his fucking credit. Period. Stop fucking around. Stop acting like, he's ruining the game. What he's doing is basically an educated version of going to the barbershop. Y'all have these fucking arguments. He's actually been in these situations with all these athletes, been around them, been able to conversate with them, been able to get information with them, be able to share, knowledge and talk to the OGs and talk to the current players and the future players. And he has his ear to the streets. Does his opinion always ring with a lot of truth? It's an opinion. Does his word sometimes fuck with people like my man Kyrie? Yes. And James Harden and so on and so forth. But let's just keep it real, dog. Like, the man is a fucking black man in a world that's still dominated by my Caucasian brothers. And yes, I say Caucasian brothers because we're all one people. I'm riding for my black people. But, we can't just act like we all ain't all in this world together. Like, there's some weird shit that white people do, that it is what it is. But there's some weird shit that brothers do as well. So, at the same token, we drafted Trey Lance, y'all. I wanted to get back on subject. We drafted Trey Lance, y'all. And this motherfucker couldn't do shit. Excuse my language. But he couldn't do shit. Hopefully, his new home, because like I said, there's been news, is going to help him out. We've decided that we are rolling with Sam Darnold as our backup. Brock Purdy is clearly a really good quarterback, clearly our future at quarterback, and is very cheap right now as a quarterback. So hopefully we try to lock him up quickly before that price tag gets way too high. That we can't keep guys around us, i.e. bring in Nicky Bosa. Bring in Nicky Bosa. Bring in Nicky Bosa. I repeat, bring in Nicky Bosa. Stop fucking playing. I digress. Trey Lance has been traded to the Dallas Cowboys, y'all, one of our chief rivals. Well, it used to be our division rival. We used to have crazy games against them. We beat them last year. They can't fuck with us. Tis what a TI is, you feel me? And they traded Trey Lance, the former number 3 overall pick. We traded first year pick that year, first year pick next year, first year pick the following year, for Trey Lance. And we traded him to the Dallas Cowboys, y'all, for a 4th round pick. Now, I'm happy we were able to get a 4th round pick because the way it was looking, we weren't going to be able to do shit. We were going to have to fucking cut this dude. But we got a 4th round pick out of him. So we're going to be able to get a pretty good football player. A lot of good football players are drafted in the middle of the draft. So I could see we could potentially get a starter at that spot. Maybe get a good offensive lineman. Because obviously you got to think we're going to have to work on replacing Trent Williams at some point. So continue to build up the offensive line. Maybe get in some corner help. Because Fonga's really good. We got Travarius Ward out there, and Diamadon Lenore is out there, and Ambry Thomas is out there. We got some really good talent, man, at the cornerback position. But you always want to foster more talent. You want to bring in more talented football players. And getting a 4th round pick out of Trey Lance, who's basically giving you nothing. teams were really skeptical that they were